They say if your mother's Jewish, that makes you one too. And at least in my family, that much was true. But when she died, did that make me more or less of a Jew? Because from that point on, my faith wavered from Seder to Seder. How can I believe in a higher power that could so easily take her? Moreover, who would it be when I finally met my Maker, which Creator? On the morning of the 18th anniversary of my mother's passing, I rented a car in an attempt to visit her headstone. Before setting off, I wrote a poem, which I'll skip now. The poem is entitled Without You, and purposely excludes the 21st letter of the alphabet. The literary technique I've used is called a lipogram. The difficulty in writing a piece of work in this manner echoes the difficulty I face and have faced in living motherless for more than half my life. The poem is a Shakespearean sonnet, or acrostic sconnet, depending on who you ask, in its attempt to blend the son of an English teacher's literary bent and unquenchable love of language with the disgust of a cell-dividing disease that takes without asking. It's also, admittedly, a pretty pretentious device. Deployed here is a mere call for attention, and attention I've no doubt been deprived of in lieu of her untimely passing. Now, most people spend eternity searching for the meaning of life. I solemnly seek the meaning behind her death. Technological heaven or illogical, oncological hell. The secret, I believe, lies somewhere in a cell. Last time I was in the area was winter of 2000 to bury Grandma Rosalie Raven, who had died a full 5 years after her youngest child. Both instances occurred before I had a license to drive, so no doubt I slept on the ride, daydreaming of better days to come or recollecting times I shined as grandson and son. A child, seeing a mother bury her child, feels like a rift in time and space, umbilical discord, a Rorschach test of infinite blotches. Picture the Great Depression shoveling dirt on a decaying flower child while Generation Y watches. And no matter how hard you try, you can't turn away from the rot. My aging fears and streaming tears having zero effect on the plot. Never mind a profound loss in faith, I saw no point in standing before a patch of land with decomposing bones standing face to faceless, having a one-sided conversation with a permanent vacation. But I was in need of answers, finding myself quite confused by my current stalling situation in both relationship and career. Flatlining in certain areas of business and in love. Plateauing as a poet with no way out and engaged to be married, riddled with doubt. Funny I should choose the 18th anniversary of her passing as my own rite of passage. In that 18, representative of the Hebrew symbol for chai, means life. I'm not even sure I was fully aware of the irony behind my day's journey or how the Hebrew letters het and yud's numerical value in the cryptic system of gematria added up. And even though I consciously distanced myself from Judaism in light of such darkness, I couldn't help see the impending visit as a simultaneous embrace and FU of the religion I was raised with. Perhaps I could defibrillate what lied beneath, exhume greater truths from an expired ESLer still with loads to teach. Mom never learned Aramaic or Latin in her day, but perhaps she could find some other worldly way to communicate via another dead language. They say if you go looking for signs, you will find them. And even though I was figuratively and literally lost, there might as well have been a bevy of billboards paving the way to her arms, a soul map sent down from the stars, Alpha and Omegatrons broadcasting her second 51 years somewhat from the great beyond. I had no direct address to GPS, and the exact location was anyone's guess. So when I felt it was close to a ghost, I called my brother to see if he could help me center in on the cemetery in which she now rests. He wasn't sure where it was either. He told me he could just sort of feel it. So after a few green lights, 2 rights, and a U-turn or 2, I turned down a one-way road and stumbled upon a row of ravens out my window. As I wandered, weak and weary, I was clearly on the right track. My great-grandfather was Ravinsky. For some reason, half the family shortened to Raven, R-A-V-I-N, while Grandpa, Grandmama, and Aunt Zell became Ravens. I before E, soon I would see who exactly had a message for me. And so Raven became my middle name, which I now use as my last, prepping me for my calling, so to speak. Actually, crows caw and ravens cry, but ornithological auditory accuracy aside, I much prefer words to birds. So with no supernatural ability to soar, I was able to follow what was carved into the stones and find who and what I was looking for. After just having hung up with my brother, I exit the Toyota hatchback and recognize the gray from behind in an electrifying flash of sober sense memory when my cell phone rings. It's my dad. He has no idea what my plan was for the day, and he's just checking in. I'm on a spiritual quest, and he's at the mall eating a pretzel. I know today is the 18th anniversary of my mom's passing, a day I'll never forget. He knows it is the 4th anniversary of his wedding to my step, having remarried years after losing his first soulmate. They're going out later that evening for dinner to celebrate. I'm grieving this morning, lamenting a fate of cancerous cells dividing at an alarming rate. Now when he hangs up, I'm wrestling science and fate. But I don't get too hung up on the eerie significance of it all, and instead focus on how in this brief and beautiful moment, a cell phone brought us all together as a family. Highs and lows, death and life. Me, my brother, grandparents, mom, dad, and his new wife. Maybe it's the remaining radiation from the last week of her death. Maybe it's something inexplicably sublime. Or maybe it's just me. But I start to believe she's inside all electric current. Radio waving us over for a final group picture. When I get another call, normally out of respect, I wouldn't answer. But what if it's her? Thanks.